Ma'am, naririnig po ba?
Yes, sir. Naririnig? Wala kaming naririnig, sir. When you share, you click yung sounds on, parang ganun, before you share.
Wait lang.
Before you share, parang meron siyang option na sounds on, parang ganun.
Good afternoon, everyone. Next in line is our topic entitled Causation in Epidemiology. So dito po, we will going to, of course, define what is cause. We will also going to establish and evaluate the observed association. So, paano natin papatunayan na ang isang association ay merong causal relationship doon sa outcome. So, the reporters of this topic are Charisma Jem Cortez, yours truly, Mr. John Paul A. Pagadu, and Miss Jamaica P. Foronda. So before we proceed with the topic, the following are the learning objectives. The first one is to define and state the important
Sir John
characteristics of a
Paul,
cause. Two, to rationalize.
sorry po.
Yes,
Sir
yes po.
John Paul, naka-ano siya? Naka-phone view? So parang
Yes,
sobrang
yes.
liit niya pag nakikita namin. Pwede ba siyang lakihan?
Tinry ko kanina ma'am pero sobrang
Ganyan
lapit
talaga
naman po.
kaliit?
Yes ma'am, yan na po yung ano
Okay.
niya ma'am.
Sige, sige. Never mind. Nakikita naman and this will be recorded. So, kapag hindi nakikita ng iba, baka ako lang. Sige po.
Sige po.
Continue, sir.
From association to causation. So dito po ang pag-uusapan natin ay ang mga different tools na pwede nating gamitin to observe and association and to explore the causes of an outcome. Next is to discuss the types of association observed in epidemiological studies. Fourth is to explore the causal guidelines proposed by Hill and their limitations. So we have nine guidelines that was proposed by Bradford Hill. Fifth is to distinguish or differentiate a risk and a cost in epidemiological research. And last is to describe the key elements of the sufficient component cost model. Okay, so let's first define what is cause. Cause as the entity responsible for producing an effect, result, or consequences. So these entities, ano nga ba itong mga entities na to? So kapag sinabi mong entity, ito yung mga nag-e-exist na mga factors that produces an effect, a result, and a consequences. So entities may include events, conditions, characteristics that precede the onset of disease and exert an influence on its occurrence. So examples are, the first example is H. pylori infection. So pwede kang magkaroon ng PUD or ng peptic ulcer disease. So H. pylori infection is the entity. Next entity is the lead exposure. So it will going to the outcome is there is a cognitive impairment to the children exposed with lead. And last example is diethylstilbestrol, pwedeng magkaroon ng vaginal carcinoma. And these are some of the entities that influences an occurrence of a disease. Epidemiologists have refined the concept of causation, highlighting three essential attributes proposed by Saucer. These are association, time order, and direction. Association refers to the statistical dependence between the causal factor and the effect, often quantified through comparisons between exposed and unexposed groups. So, previously, bago itong topic na to, is meron tayong merong mga na-introduce na methods of measurement para ma-quantify natin yung risk. Those methods of risk measurement enable us to quantify deviations in risk when associations are identified. So, in association, this is the first step in evaluating causation. However, causation itself doesn't confirm, association itself doesn't confirm causation. So, there is still further analysis. So, kailangan pa nating pag-aralan kung ito nga bang association ay isang causation para ma-rule out natin yung mga confounding factors, bias or reverse causation, yung mga factors na pwedeng makaapekto doon sa isang causation. Next, time order dictates that the cause must precede the effect. It refers to the sequence in which events occur by distinguishing between distant causes, which occur long before the outcome, and proximate causes, which precede the outcome by a shorter interval. So, let's differentiate these two. Proximate causes, this is the immediate or the triggering, the direct triggering factor of an outcome, while the distant, it indirectly contributes to the factor, or it directly contributes to the outcome. For the causal pathway, proximate acts directly on the outcome, while the distant, it acts indirectly, and often through proximate causes. So, distant, these causes occurred earlier. So, since they occurred earlier, pwede silang mag-contribute doon sa proximate cause. Next is of intervention. Proximate cause is easier to target with direct interventions, while the distant, it is harder to intervene because it requires systemic changes. An example ng proximate cause is poor diet. Itong poor diet pwedeng mag-lead sa cardiovascular disease, while the distant cause is lacking access to healthy food, or this pwede rin namang socio-economic status. So, if there is a limit sources, so pwede pong limit rin po ang access ng healthy food that can lead into a poor diet. At pwedeng magkaroon ng cardiovascular disease. So again, proximate causes is it directly acts on the outcome, while sa distant, it indirectly lead into the outcome. So parang si distant, siya yung naunang nagkaroon, siya yung unang nag-appear, and then itong distant na to is nag-contribute siya doon sa proximate cause. Next, direction. Direction signifies an asymmetrical relationship between cause and effect, where changes in the cause lead to changes in the outcome, but not vice versa. So, identifying the correct direction helps confirm the causal pathway. Sometimes associations may exist where the outcome influences the exposure, which can lead to incorrect conclusions if not properly addressed. So, ang sinasabi po dito sa direction is that yung isang exposure dapat mag-lead siya sa outcome, not the other way around. So, in conclusion, association helps in identifying a potential relationships that might be causal. Time order ensures that the cause that the causes comes first before the effect. And the direction, it confirms that the exposure leads to the outcome and not the other way around. These concepts can help epidemiologists move from mere associations to stronger evidence of causation. And of course, there are some considerations for us na makapag-establish ng stronger evidence of causation. So, nasa ano po siya, learning objective. Learning objective number 4. So, yun po yung sinabi ko kanina na in-establish ni Bradford Hill na mga guidelines para masabi natin na ang isang association ay merong causal relationship doon sa outcome. Characteristics of a cause must precede the effect. The effect can either a host or environmental factor. Examples are characters, conditions, actions of individuals, events, natural, social, or economic phenomena. And the effect may be positive, presence of a causative exposure, for example, the COVID or the coronavirus, or the effect can be negative, or lack of preventive exposure, for example, wala pang introduced o wala pang nabigay na vaccine doon sa isang tao. Kaya nagkaroon siya ng COVID. Okay. Next, causes encompass both host and environmental factors, reflecting the interplay between genetic predispositions, behaviors, and external determinants such as infectious agents and socio-economic conditions. And these factors or these causes or these entities can be categorized as active, passive, positive, and negative. Kapag sinabi mong active, they produces changes. For example, smoking. Smoking can lead into lung cancer. Passive or unchanging antecedent. Itong passive na to, they are the factors that can be manipulated or they are fixed. So hindi na pwedeng baguhin. So example is the genetic predisposition. Pwede rin yung age. Or sa kapag merong public health concern, air pollution, the socio-economic status of a person. Positive contributes to disease occurrence. And negative prevents disease onset. So example ng positive is yun, si smoking. Negative, kapag negative, yung mga way to reduce or to prevent the occurrence of a disease. Okay, so let's differentiate the active and passive. Active, it directly these are the direct factor that leads into the outcome, while the passive is the indirect factors. Active causes can be manipulated or controlled, while the passive, they are hard to manipulate or control. For the causal pathway, active causes is more direct, while the passive, it is indirect. Example ng active causes is smoking. So, itong smoking, pwedeng mag-lead into cancer. Vaccination, pwedeng mag-lead into magkaroon ng immune ang mga taong na-vaksinan. And alcohol consumption, pwedeng mag-lead into alcoholism or alcohol addiction. Next is passive, air pollution. So, hindi naman natin kayang manipulahin ang air pollution and also the socio-economic status. Okay, Okay, next, from association to causation. In understanding the causal relationships between exposures and diseases in human populations, epidemiologists employ various approaches, and these approaches has its own advantages and limitations. So, ang isang ginamit ng mga epidemiology na approach is the unplanned or experiments or unplanned or natural experiment. So, by the word itself, unplanned or natural, so ginagamit siya doon sa mga conditions na unexpectedly nag-occur, katulad ng pandemic. So, to study the effects of exposures on human populations when controlled experiments like randomized controlled trials are not feasible due to ethical, practical, or financial reasons. And it occurs when external events or circumstances lead to varying exposures in a population, allowing researchers to observe the effects without intentionally manipulating the exposures. So, example ng unplanned or natural experiment is the COVID-19 lockdowns and the smoking ban. So, noong nagkaroon ng lockdown, noong COVID-19, nakitaan na ang lockdown pala ay effective para mag-decrease ng mga cases. And same dose po kay smoking ban. Kapag for example, this place na madaming smokers and this place na wala or konti. So, dito po sa place na madami ang smokers, mataas ang respiratory illness, pag-occur ng respiratory diseases. While dito sa place na konti ang smokers or walang smokers is, syempre walang data na nagkaroon ng respiratory illness. So, ang gagawin is magkakaroon ng smoking ban. So, i-compare nila yung na-expose doon sa non-expose. So, by implementing a smoking ban, so makikita na maganda yung effect o nag-decrease yung hospitalization o yung respiratory illness sa isang hospital. Next is the sequence of conducting human studies. The first one is clinical observation. So, dito po, magkakaroon ng observation at disease pattern. So, titignan natin yung pattern ng disease, titignan natin yung mga affected na tao, even the place, and kailan. So, the first one is the clinical observations. Next is analysis of routinely available data to inform further studies. Next is case control studies. Ito gagamit tayo ng another tool. Case control studies serve as the initial step to explore associations, comparing the exposure histories of individuals with and without the disease of interest. Next is cohort studies may be conducted to assess disease rates among exposed and unexposed groups. And last is the RCT. Ginagamit rin naman si RCT, but due to some ethical concerns, RCT may be employed for investigating beneficial agents. So, let's highlight here the case control studies and the cohort studies. So, the study design for the case control studies is retrospective. Okay, so retrospective is because the direction of this study is from the disease status or from the outcome to the exposure, from the outcome and then to the exposure. And for the cohort naman, pwedeng prospective or retrospective. Prospective because the direction of the study is from the exposure status to the outcome status. Pwede rin namang retrospective kasi sabi ko nga kanina na may mga distant causes, may mga causes na nag-occur earlier and then pwede natin siyang balikan. At pag-aralan. Okay, so the measures of association for the case control is odd ratio, and for the cohort, relative risk ratio. For the efficiency, case control is faster and it is less expensive. So, case control, we compare those group na may disease and doon sa, or we compare it to those exposed group to the non-exposed group. So, faster siya because case control are useful. Case control studies are useful for rare diseases. So, rare diseases or outcome, and it is less expensive. While sa cohort is lower and more expensive. Sa cohort is lower siya because we need to follow up, and more expensive it is because kailangan natin ng a larger sample size. And cohort studies is useful for rare exposures. The main disadvantage of case control studies is it cannot determine causality, while the cohort is due to the long follow-up period for some outcomes, nagkakaroon na ng may mga subjects na nagda-drop doon sa studies o maalis sa studies. An examples of a case control study is smoking and lung cancer, while the cohort studies is a Framingham heart study. Okay, so we are done with the definition and the importance of the characteristics of a cause, and we rationalize the association from association to causation.
Okay, Sir John Paul. We'll stop with that. We will continue next meeting. Sir John, kulang pa ng no? Presentation. Meron pang groupmate na magpe-present.
Yes, yes po, ma'am. Ako po sa kasi Ma'am Jamaica.
Okay, so we'll continue by next week. I'll be posting exercise number 4, but this time it will not be done individually. You still remember your group mates from our activity last meeting. So yung group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, group 5, group 6, you meet offline na lang. For the submission naman will be next meeting, next Sunday before our class again. So group work yung pagsagot para meron kayong katuwang sa pagsagot. But yung submission, individual pa rin. So meaning, isa lang yung mukha ng isasubmit nila, for example, nila Kim at yung kanyang other groupmates sa group 5. Pare-pareho yon. So they will be writing yung names, pero magsasubmit pa rin sa Google Class natin para matatag siyang may nasubmit kayo at for that activity. Maliwanag po ba yon?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so meron po ang question ay kanina ay clarified pag hindi pa masyadong um, uh, clear or dun sa may correlation tayo when it comes to sa question ni Sir Nixon with abstract number 1 natin kanina dito. So I posted sa ating sa ating chat dito na even though gumamit siya ng correlation, tulad ng sabi ko, it's still descriptive correlational since ang goal niya is not to test yung X and Y natin, yung causality, but still to observe yung associations, which is still descriptive. Okay? So, nakarating na sa kung saan si Ma'am Jen. Let's open our cameras for our final documentation for today. Kaya ko pala hindi naka-open. At nag-i-start na yung next meeting ko, no? Okay, Sir Jed?
Yeah, 3, 2, 1, smile po. For the first. Wait lang po. 3, 2, 1, smile. Okay, for the second part po. 3, 2, 1, smile po. Opo, lang po. Ulitin ko po.
Okay na, Sir Jed?
Okay na po. Thank you po.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone, and see you next meeting. Yeah, next meeting. I'll still see you next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.